All stand for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please. I did say roll call.
Councilmember Murray,
Present.
Mayor Matsumoto Wright,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall,
Here.
Councilmember Sonmore,
Here.
and Councilmember Payne Donovan,
Present remotely.
and Council members Ryan and Woodard asked to be excused.
Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to excuse council members Woodard and Ryan.
Second.
It's been moved for them to be excused. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, they've been excused. Next is public comment. Do we have any public comment?
No one has signed up in person,
Okay.
and if there's anyone in the online audience who would like to speak, please use your hand raise tool. Okay, Anonymous Bob. You have 5 minutes. Bob, are you there? I don't know, his hand went away. Okay, going once, going twice. That concludes public comment.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve the consent calendar, items A, B, and C.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Let's see. So next is the approval of the Tour de Terrace agreement. And that was taken out because Councilmember Ryan was going to recuse himself, but he is not here tonight, so could have done it in consent calendar still. But go ahead.
Oh, it's yeah.
Okay, but I need to keep this on.
Yeah. It is hard to tell, isn't it?
All right. So we took the Tour de Terrace agreement off the consent calendar because one of our council members was going to recuse himself, but he is not here tonight. So we could have put it back in, but we're going to vote on it separately tonight. Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Wall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Move to approve an agreement between the City of Mountlake Terrace and the Tour de Terrace organization for the use of public property lodging tax revenue allocation not to exceed $15,000 and city contributions as noted in Exhibit A.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So that also has been, that has passed. All right, so next is the Arbor Day Proclamation, and we're going to have a member of our Parks.
Oh.
Is this on? Oh, it is.
Yep.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to read this proclamation, which was signed by the mayor earlier today. City of Mountlake Terrace Proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Kyoko Matsumoto Wright, Mayor of the City of Mountlake Terrace, do hereby proclaim April 3rd, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Mountlake Terrace, and ask our citizens to celebrate Arbor Day, to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands, and to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Signed by the Mayor this 3rd day of April 2023 at the City of Mountlake Terrace, State of Washington, in the witness whereof and the seal and signatures of the city are fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Molly. Thank you very much for reading that. So next will be the review of the 2022 Development Activities Update.
Right, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Pizzo, she, her pronouns, and I'm an associate planner here at the City of Mountlake Terrace. So this evening, I'm going to be going through community and economic development updates from 2022. So I'll be going through this list of 27 projects that made some type of progress in 2022. And here's a map that shows where all of these projects are located within the city, so you have a sense of their location and size. All right, the first project is the 212th planned unit development located on 212th. So this project divides property into 8 single household lots. And includes the creation of a privately owned and maintained park with public access, a new city street, and protection of critical slopes. The status is that land use was approved and the civil permit is currently under review. The 222nd Street vacation is a project to vacate the street so that Sound Transit has access to the light rail guideway. And this project was completed. All right, the 234th Street Townhome project is a 0.16 acre lot that has received approval to be subdivided into 5 townhomes. Access is off 55th. And this project is currently under construction. Altair Townhomes, this project is located on 50th. This project divides property into 12 fee simple lots for townhomes. It includes 2 townhome buildings that share an outdoor space and includes frontage improvements along both 216th Place Southwest and 50th Avenue West. The Ballinger Park Trail and ADA Playground is a Mountlake Terrace project located in Ballinger Park. The trail goes from the clubhouse/senior center parking lot to the Ballinger Boat Launch parking lot. And that trail was completed last year. And the playground is located midway along the trail and is expected to be finished this spring. The Cedar Park Townhomes Fee Simple Development Project divides 2.9 acres into 52 townhome lots. It includes an internal road network, frontage improvements, including a cul-de-sac at the end of 55th Avenue West, and pedestrian connections. The primary land use application has been approved, and civil construction application is under review. The Camino Short Plat project is located on 66th. This is a 2-lot short plat that is proposed for 8,017 square foot, and then 8,259 square feet lots. And this has received final land use approval, and the civil permit has been issued as well. Gustafson Townhome Project is a fee simple townhome project that divides land into 6 parcels. The land use has been approved, building permits have been issued, and this project is just awaiting final inspection. The Ballinger Park Hall Creek Restoration Project is a Army Corps of Engineer project and City of Mountlake Terrace project that involves 16.4 acres of habitat restoration on the north end of Ballinger Park, including species removal, planting native plants, etc., and adding a boardwalk and maintenance bridge to protect the sensitive areas and improving pedestrian access to view nature in the park. And this project is expected to start construction in May of this year. The Terrace View Estates fee simple unit lot subdivision is located on 52nd, includes 18 townhomes across 3 buildings. This project has received primary land use approval, and civil permits are issued as well. This is 47 North, formerly known as PNT Townhomes, another townhome project dividing just over half an acre into 16 town unit lots. It includes 5 live-work units across 3 townhome buildings and internal access and frontage improvements on 56. This project is just awaiting final inspections. The Primera Campus renovation master site plan project located on 220th is redevelopment and renovation of the Primera Campus. It includes 5 buildings, and one of the buildings, the Orcus building, is currently under construction. PSI Mini Storage located on 70th is the 3-story storage unit project that includes frontage improvements along 70th Avenue West, and that was completed last year. Terrace Station Building 2 is a mixed-use development that contains surface parking and 2 stories of underground parking for vehicles and bicycles. There's 168 residential units and ground floor commercial space. Access is off Van Rye, and the project includes some restoration, natural restoration as well. This project is leasing for both residential and commercial properties as of May of 2022. Terrace Station Building 3, adjacent is another mixed-use building, 7 stories, including residential and commercial as well. Office, retail, restaurant, and 1 level of underground parking. There are outdoor courtyards on the first residential level, and they started construction in April of 2022. Valorum Cottage Homes is a cottage housing development with units that average 2,000 square feet, features detached garages and a communal open space. They are currently awaiting final inspections. The Waco Short Plat, located on 228th, is a project that subdivides 3 residential lots for the purpose of constructing 2 detached single household homes and 1 existing home. And the plat does include a critical area tract with steep slopes and tree protection. Each home will have a driveway off 228th, and this project was complete in 2022. The Willow Glen Townhomes project is a 1-acre property that's been divided into 40 townhome units across 6 buildings, includes frontage improvements and internal access. The civil permits have been issued, and building permits are ready to issue. Candela is an 8-story multi-family commercial building located adjacent to the Sound Transit light rail station. They have received site plan approval and are currently under civil review, and they're actually scheduled for their building permit intake this week. The Sound Transit conditional use permit is the major light rail, I'm sure you're all familiar, project that is taking place here and is currently under construction with the timeline to open for service in 2024. Aces Poker, located on 20th Street Southwest, is undergoing some major tenant improvements, including renovating the existing poker room, dining room, bar, offices, and kitchen, and reconfiguring restrooms into a code-compliant space. This project is under construction. The Mountlake Village Site Development Plan is located in Town Center on 56th Avenue West. They are proposing to develop 301 apartment units with 426,881 square feet of gross floor area, as well as 5,260 square feet of retail, and we are currently processing the land use application. Chain Lake Express Wash is a car wash proposal that includes 4,102 square feet on 44th Avenue West, and we are currently processing the land use application. The 236th Street vacation is a proposal to vacate right-of-way along 236th Street Southwest at the intersection of Van Rye Boulevard with the intention for Whiskey 6 and Sierra MLT to combine the vacated parcel with 3 adjacent parcels that they already own in Town Center 1 to allow for a future mixed-use development, and we are processing the street vacation application. 213th Place Rockery Repair was a project to repair rockery that failed and caused a significant void, and that project was completed last year. Forest Crest Athletic Club short subdivision is a proposal to subdivide 0.45 acres into 3 lots for the construction of 3 new detached single-family homes, and we are currently processing the land use application. 52nd Landing is located in our community business district on 52nd. This is a proposal to build a 4-story building with 11 units up top and 3 floors for a total of 33 units. The first floor has just under 5,000 square feet of commercial space and 12 parking stalls. There will be an additional 29 parking stalls on site, and we are processing this land use application. All right, do folks have any questions?
Okay, does anyone have any questions or comments? Like, I think I have a few, but go ahead, Councilmember Murray.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you both for being here for tonight and for the presentation. It's incredibly helpful for me to have this regular overview. It's nice when folks have questions about kind of what's going on around the community to have some kind of general knowledge, and so really appreciate that. And I had a couple of questions, and some of them are around usage, so maybe they're not totally fair questions, but I'm going to ask anyway and would love just thoughts. So for the old PNT townhomes, the 47 North, those are those live-work units on 56. Is there anything that we as the city could be doing to help incentivize those to be utilized as workspaces, given that they exist?
You know, frankly, I don't know. It's kind of, they submitted the application invested before we revised the town center plan. And so I think we encourage and welcome live workspaces. I'm not sure what we can do to make sure that they're utilized in that capacity. I think our hope is that with more kind of home-based businesses, that there will be a better opportunity for those to be utilized as workspaces, particularly where these are located on 56th. I think it's kind of a great opportunity, and there will be on-street parking adjacent to these, which is not always the case. So my hope is that they will be, but I don't know of anything specifically that we can do to encourage that per se. I'm open to suggestions, but it's kind of a wait and see, I guess, at this point.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It sounds like maybe just getting the word out. I was going to say
Yeah.
you gave us some great talking points, so I appreciate that very much, Christy. I think another question that we will get as folks start to see the development over I think it was called MLT Village, Mountlake Terrace Village, and that site development plan. I know there's been a lot of interest and desire, that's the old Rogers Market spot, to see some sort of grocery store return to the town center. I'm curious if the plans as they exist currently would at least allow for that, if that was something, you know, that they found a tenant. I guess, is that space set up in a way that could potentially facilitate a grocery store as a tenant?
Not as they're proposing it. The zoning provides for it, and so there was an opportunity to utilize that space for ground floor grocer. And of course, we know the desire of the community, so when we did the town center plan, we made sure that there was opportunities to do such. But as proposed, they have two corner commercial spaces which are required as part of the zoning requirements, but they're rather small spaces that would facilitate, you know, a corner coffee shop or a small restaurant or something to that, which is going to be disappointing. So I would say we can facilitate zoning to try to encourage that. What we found out in the town center plan, Stefan and I, when we were both working on it, that residential leads retail, and it's kind of the chicken and the egg type of thing. Do you have enough bodies in this area in order for a grocer to come in here? And so I would say encouraging that we're continuing to see residential, and in this case 300 and is it 12? I always get it mixed up. 300 and something. Let's say, you know, residential units, and then with the Candela, the Millstream development, additional, you know, residential units, working on building 3 for Terrace Station. All of those things equate to, greater density and hopefully at some point the opportunity for us to get some type of grocer of some size back in town center, so.
And maybe this is a follow-up question for another time. I'm curious how many sites we have that exist currently in Mountlake Terrace in the town center would potentially facilitate, I guess, something of that size. I guess I'd be curious to understand. I would assume there's not many, so I think particularly as we kind of look forward and try to think through how we support future growth and walkability, it would be great to understand how much focus we need to, I guess, intentionally place on some of this.
I mean, I think we've talked to a lot of professionals, retail development and commercial development professionals, and also just the development community. Right now, as we know, a lot of those lots need to be aggregated in order to get a development. So it's not that this space is the only space just because it didn't need to be aggregated. I think there's opportunities elsewhere for this to happen, just like any development's going to need to aggregate, parcels to do some type of development. And I know that I've heard from a couple of planning commissioners, we did, when we gave them the development activities update, other than requiring something to occur, which I think is out of the ordinary. We provide opportunities and we market these properties the best we can to, to keep that desire on the forefront of the community, so.
No, we appreciate that. And good reminder about the fact that, there's the opportunity to aggregate properties to perhaps have a larger parcel for redevelopment at some point in the future. My only other question was just around, we saw there was a lot of development up around 212th, which was interesting. And so I know we had talked, I think when Planning Commission was here, about the sub-area kind of focus around 212th and 44th, but I'm curious if that focus extends to these developments that we, I guess, just looked at that are kind of in process, or if those fall outside of that sub-area, or maybe that's, you don't have to know that offhand, but.
No, so I can elaborate. So anything that is a complete application that complies with current code is considered a complete application vested under our current requirements. So we're not going to catch everything, but definitely the desire moving forward with our comp plan update will start to address those things. So where we see opportunities in these areas, then we can address them maybe with more appropriate zoning of where we want to, how we want to see those areas redeveloped. So
Very timely, apparently.
yes,
So.
very timely.
Well, thank you again for all of the work. I know that all of those projects, reflect a ton of work from staff's perspective, and I think a lot of interest and I guess, investment within our community from the development market as well. So exciting updates, and appreciate you being here.
Okay, so before I go to Councilmember Payne Donovan, I was just disappointed in the small amount of retail spaces in the Millstream one and also in the Old Rogers Marketplace. I just thought that it, because if you were to get a grocery store, it's going to have to be larger than 5,000 square feet. And that's the first thing I noticed was, there's not room. But I'm not designing it, I'm not doing, I just would love to have one. Okay, so Councilmember Payne Donovan, you're up.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. And thank you, Sarah and Christy, for the presentation. I enjoyed seeing these exciting new projects. I think, like Councilmember Murray pointed out, there are some new ones that, I think will garner a lot of attention here. And I guess, first I'd pose a question about, where we as council and the general public can learn more about some of these things, especially the Candela and MLT Village projects in the to the degree they're official, and you can share site plans, et cetera, with the public, just so folks can get a feel and some images for what to expect. And so I'll sort of pose that question, and then I, personally am interested in conversations about, when the appropriate time is to sort of tack on to the existing town center plan might be, because I really deeply respect the fact that you and Sarah and the limited staff you have had for the last couple of years, you've had a lot of questions about certain concerns from the community. Certainly, I raised plenty when I was on the planning commission, and I'm sure you've heard them from council over the last couple of years. But I think as we sort of grapple with this chicken and egg question, as you put it, I'd suggest that there are some real drivers of outcomes in terms of the economic realities of what our market can bear, and also we've set some standards for parking that are higher than the consultants originally suggested in the town center plan, and given that we're building transit-oriented development, and the cost of construction, I know that parking minimums just drive costs and also inform the facts of building structures with certain amenities and the sort of overall economics of development in communities like ours. So I'll make that sort of broad statement, and then also raise some specific concerns. I think the Candela project's well on its way, and I'm really excited to see it built. But I've raised in the past in letters from as a signatory to letters as a unappointed or when I wasn't on council, and I've raised this issue on the planning commission as well, really concerned about how development interacts with the boundaries of Veterans Memorial Park, and really want to understand how Candela does that, but also as we look to future development on the northwest corners of Veterans Park. I really think we need to set some real standards, and we on council need to know how developers are or aren't sort of facilitating interaction with the park, because I really don't think it serves the public or developers to sort of be allowed to wall off the park, and I realize that's kind of aggressive language, but it's a real concern of mine. So that's a lot, I realize, and I'll stop there, but would love to hear your take here, and would love to work on these conversations going forward.
Yeah, I can take the first question about where council and the public can learn more about the big projects or all the projects. So we'll be updating our website with the map of the development activities. And so anyone can click on locations on the map and open up an informational sheet that describes more about the project. So that's somewhere people can go to reference what I went over today. And of course, if anyone ever has questions or wants to see more detailed plans, they can always reach out to me at spizzo@mltwa.gov, and I'd be happy to share information once we have technically complete applications.
I guess I'll speak to a couple of the other items for parking standards. I know that this was a topic of conversation previously. where there are different minimum parking standard requirements, and there was some robust conversation on council regarding that. And I think that that is open to further discussion, potentially moving forward as far as what that should look like as minimum parking standards. And I think different type of development scenarios that we're going to see moving forward in our comprehensive plan update. We are in the process of selecting a consultant, and this week are in the process of interviews. And so one of the, things that we talked a great deal about, of course, is public engagement and what that looks like, and the need for a robust public process moving forward as well. So we will be very actively trying to let the public know where we are and engage them in that full conversation. For the Candela project, I know that there has been a desire for those properties on the south side of the park to interconnect or interact in a different manner with Veterans Park. In the case of the Candela project, there is a trail that is proposed on that property on the west side, linking 236th and Veterans Park as part of this project. So there will be a trail, if you will. I understand that maybe there's a desire for different trail linkages. We don't have anything in code that requires that presently. And so if there's a desire for different linkages to Veterans Park, then that's something that we'd need to address in our development standards of taking a look at that and exactly where those linkages could possibly be. There's a great deal of topographic constraints and differences from the property that fronts 236 to the actual park itself. So we can try to get the best urban design and development, but then again, we have to proceed with what we have in code as well. So we can't kind of make things up as we go. So if there is a desire for some additional requirements, then I would encourage us to look at our code and see how that would work for the other properties that are to the south. But this does have a connection on this particular piece of property to the park.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you both for the presentation. As has been stated, we always appreciate the update on development projects and what's going on in our city. I think it's important for not only our council to understand, but an opportunity for the public to know what's going on and the projects that are happening out there. Along those lines, can you, I know you keep that running activity report online. Can you email that out to us and maybe actually talk a little bit about for the public so that they can find it easily on the website? How do we find it on the website? But do please email that link to each of us so we can keep that handy. I know I've got that email that you sent out before somewhere in my list, but I think it's great to have that always available for all of us. For future updates on the development activities report, I'd love to have a kind of a summary page in the end that talks about the total number of units built and permitted, total number of businesses and jobs created, total number of development and permit fees collected, total dollars invested, total property value increase, and total construction value. So it's just some of those numbers that might be, I know we collect a lot of that annually anyway, but just being able to include that in the annual report would be really valuable information, I think, in addition to knowing the specific projects as we go along. Then I guess the other thing is just kind of a reminder of, can we get an update on economic development activities? in our efforts in one of our future meetings, just so we know exactly what we're doing to attract the development that's been raised, and how are we going about getting developers and attracting investors into our community. And then just a reminder, we're talking a lot about future development and interest in that. Just a reminder that the comp plan update process is going to be critically important. So of all of your concerns and ideas for what kind of development we want to see in the future, that is our opportunity to really get engaged and help shape what our community is going to look like over the next 20 years. So encourage us to all be engaged, and reminder for all the public to be engaged as we are talking about a very active public engagement plan. That is our opportunity to help shape the vision of our community. So that's it. Again, thank you so much for the report. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Do you want to speak, Stefan?
Yes, Mayor. I was going to present this during the city manager's report, but Councilmember Wall's comment was a good segue. We are interviewing consultant teams this week who submitted proposals for updating the comprehensive plan. So that is taking place this week.
Updating what?
The city's comprehensive plan.
Thank you. Anyone else?
How do we find the activities report online?
Oh, yes. So you go to which page and then click what?
Yeah, I believe under our permit or planning and engineering under maps, there's a list of interactive maps, and development activity maps would be one of them.
We could definitely work to make that a little bit easier to find for the public. We have a lot of scenarios where people are clicking a lot to get to someplace, and it's not intuitive. So I think there can be work done to make sure that that's easier for people, because I know people are interested in those type of things. So we'll work on making that more intuitive.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and that would be great. I think that is part of the challenge that we all face with our website, is making it accessible and usable for the public. To make it easy for folks in the search function, they'd probably just put development activity or development. What would be the search words they'd want to use in searching for this report?
Development map?
I think development activities and the map comes up.
I just typed in development activity, and then, yep, there's a list, public and private development projects in Mountlake Terrace.
Very good.
I could share my screen and do it as well. Let's see. Oh, no. Where did Zoom go?
I think we should start with the main page. When you go to this City of Mountlake Terrace, there are all those little bubbles at the top. Which one do you press on?
I was thinking from the website, from our website.
Yeah, that's
in the search function, development activities.
So that's the home page.
There you go.
Where they're not bubbles anymore. So government, recreation, community, business. Oh, you're typing it in.
Yeah, very good.
Oops, all right. So this is our private development map. And then you can click on, oops. The projects are all along here. With information. And we'll be updating this because I don't think we've updated it yet to reflect the presentation today.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I also wanted to mention that I'm glad to see that townhome projects that we approved over almost 10 years ago are getting built. Like they just cleared out 212th on 56, just up on 52nd, just south of 212th. So that finally happened, and I assume that the other one on 212th is the one right across the street that used to be owned by Mr. Richardson. So
Yeah.
that finally is going to be,
Yeah, I also wanted to clarify for folks, just because I know that people don't work on this every day like we do, is that land use is the first step typically in a process, and then after land use is the civil review portion, and then it's the building permit portion of it. So we kind of throw those terms around, and for folks that don't do what we do, it kind of gives a better visual of where somebody is in a process. And as you can see, some of these projects you guys have heard over the years and you're like, geez, that's still around. But for land use, when we're approving a subdivision or a fee simple townhome, you know, after we do a preliminary approval, applicant has 5 years to complete a process. So some of them, people get them done rather quickly, and other times it takes a while. So it just goes to show you that when you're working on a development project, particularly a large development project, there's a lot of things that go into all the steps, and then actually the what we do, and also the development side of what somebody proposing a development, and the financing and all of those other things that have to come together to where we see something actually coming out of the ground and getting built. So it's definitely a labor-intensive process that folks go through to see a project through. So, yeah.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Well, we'd love to see this again and again, with things added to it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
The next is the city manager's report. Did you have anything else to add?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. As discussed last week, I requested the interim city manager to prepare a letter that could be sent to House and Senate representatives related to our capital ask at the state level. Also, the EASC Chamber Economic Development Coordinator position is still being advertised, so that's underway. And then last year, we provided a letter to the City Council letting you know that the Attorney General has contacted us, noting that there is a $518 million settlement, and it was related to the 3 largest pharmaceutical distributors in the nation, and that a certain number of cities needed to fill out all the paperwork online in order for all of the jurisdictions to receive money. I did so last year, and in December, we received about $33,787. And so there's a second round of funding, and we have been notified that Washington State will be eligible for $434 million over 15 years if all conditions are met. So they're asking for eligible cities to apply again and fill out all the paperwork. And so I do plan to do that. If the council has no objections, it's simply a continuation really of the first round. I can do that and then add our city to the list of cities for Washington State. And we don't know how much we're going to get. Last year, we filled out all the paperwork and we got $33,700. Not sure how much we would get, but I suspect it'll be slightly less since there's $100 million less for the state.
Do I hear any objections to this? Can we just go ahead and put our thumbs up tonight? Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. The next is the council liaison reports. Let's see. Let's start off with Councilmember. Did you want to go first?
Sure, Mayor. Thank you. I appreciate it. On March 24th, I had the opportunity to join staff and council colleagues and the Mountlake Terrace Business Association, or the Mountlake Terrace Chamber of Commerce, for the ribbon cutting over at Hadiani, I think is how you pronounce it. We have a great new restaurant up on 220th that serves West African cuisine, and they gave us a super warm welcome. And we got to have a ribbon cutting and eat some of their delicious food, and they were incredibly hospitable, and the food was delicious. So it was a great outing, and it's nice to have more of these ribbon cuttings popping up on our schedules now that we are back to life a little bit more normal. On the 27th, I met with staff and members of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Commission to review the RFP submissions that we received for kind of that strategic planning piece that we had budgeted this year. I think we're going to fill in the DEIC in the next meeting on that conversation, and then I'll bring back kind of where they're at in that process to update the group here. And then on the 30th, joined our work session, and I think that is it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Salmore?
I have nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Payne Donovan?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also attended the Hadiani restaurant grand opening. Terrific food. In case anyone hasn't been already, it's great to see robust restaurant and a new food culture taking root in Mountlake Terrace and the 220th corridor. Being a great spot to try out all sorts of interesting fare and wares. Otherwise, don't have anything to add, but that I'm interested in joining any regional committees that might have openings on. So, thank you.
We'll have to look into that. Mayor Pro Tem Wall?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. All right, so on the 22nd of March, had the South Snohomish County Council President's meeting where we talked about regional issues, program services, and potential opportunities. Also on the 22nd, had the Snohomish County Tomorrow Steering Committee meeting where we had a legislative update and talked about housing targets and income and how we're going to need to be incorporating that into our planning coming up in 2024 comp plan update. If you want more information, I'm happy to share and go into more detail, but you've probably heard me talk about it a lot previously, and you will continue to hear us talk about that, the importance of housing targets, meeting those housing targets and how we need to ensure planning for incomes at all levels. All right, then on the 23rd, had the Puget Sound Regional Council Operations Committee meeting where we talked about the operations of the Puget Sound Regional Council, followed by the Puget Sound Regional Council Executive Board meeting where we talked about FTA funding distribution methodology. FTA is the Federal Transportation Administration grants and funding that's available through them. Talked about public participation plan for the regional level, at the regional level, and how we engage the public for discussion and information at the regional level and our regional planning efforts. Talked about a youth engagement summer program. So if you have anybody that is interested in planning, might be interested in the planning profession, they've got a summer, we're working on a summer program to invite our youth students to come to and learn a little bit more about the planning profession. Also a reminder about in May, we've got the America's Competitiveness Exchange Program coming to the Seattle region. As a tremendous opportunity for us to show off our region to the world, actually. Reported on that last time, so if you want more information, let me know. Again, a reminder also for the Puget Sound Regional Council General Assembly would be May 30th, so we're interested in attending that. That is in person this year, so we're, after several years trying to do that by Zoom, we are now back in person finally for May 30th. On the 24th, also attended the ribbon cutting for Hadiani Western African cuisine. On the 30th, we all had the work study session. I apologize about my internet connection that was so poor that you weren't able to hear me evidently, but I did hear you. So I appreciate the opportunity to hear about the Parks and Recreation activities and update, and looking forward to working with everybody, the commission and folks that are engaged in our parks and planning and the different recreational programs that are such a pride and joy here in our community. Also, want to appreciate everything the Arts Commission is doing for us, and looking forward to working with them, particularly on that strategic plan update. I'm sorry you weren't able to hear me want to talk about that, and looking forward to working with our Arts Commission and folks as far as how we want to go about updating that arts and culture strategic plan, because that is so critical. It's such a great plan that we had that that is sitting on the shelf that we need to update. And we need to take advantage of the opportunity that we have right now in front of us this year with some funding that we got in the budget, and also the ARPA funding dollars, potentially utilizing some of that to be able to update our arts and culture strategic plan. Other than that, let's see, I think that is, of course, I'm continuing to gain new understanding and insights into today's healthcare system, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It is an amazing process that we have to navigate, anybody trying to deal with it. So at any rate, that is, I believe, the conclusion of my report. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. I don't know if I'm going to repeat myself on some of these, but for my report, on the 21st of last month, I was on a panel for the Snohomish County Council on housing needs. And then on the 22nd, I attended the AHA meeting, which is the Affordable Housing Alliance. And then on the 24th, I was also at the ribbon cutting at Hadiani. And hopefully we'll have a whole bunch more of these, because we're going to have a lot of different restaurants in Mountlake Terrace. A lot more. And then on the 28th, I just had coffee with our librarian and a new staff member, so Kristen Pifo, is that how you pronounce her name? And then Vanessa Gutierrez. Let's see, and then later that evening, there was a presentation, now with the new astronauts being announced today, who's going to go to the moon. This is the first time we went to the moon. Dr. James Jokey gave his presentation because he helped the first astronauts go to the moon. And if you haven't heard this presentation, I hope he does it again, because it is definitely worth going to see, because I understood a little bit more about what happened and how we got to the moon, because it was never explained to you in a way that you could understand it, because they didn't explain it to you. They just went. And so I hope we can have a chance to see him again. And then on the 29th, I attended the Access meeting. This is all the community leaders, and we're forming a nonprofit to help the kids before they get into trouble. And this is Linwood, several of us from Mountlake Terrace. We're all just trying to help out to see what we can do. There's already been a lot of interest in this, and so we need funding, but we're looking to get this accomplished, because then we can save kids before they get into trouble, meaning going to drugs, getting arrested, doing anything with their negative with their lives. And that's the end of my presentation, my report. Stephen?
Yes, I know I forgot something.
Okay.
For the Regional Fire Authority annexation, we are hosting 2 open houses. One is in person, will take place in the council chambers the evening of April 6th. The second is online for those who aren't able to attend in person, and that will take place on April 12th. And we do have that posted on the front of the city's website.
All right. So the next on our agenda is new business. Does anyone have any new business? Okay, I don't see anyone with their hands up, and I don't have anything for it tonight, and so we're adjourned. Thank you.
Record.